Hey guys, welcome back to the Deep Beauty Podcast. I am so excited for today's episode. We have Kiku, one of the co-founders of Shaz Kiks, which if you guys haven't heard of it, you're probably living under a rock because it is the hottest new Ayurvedic brand that is carried by Sephora, which is so exciting because it's founded by two South Asian ladies, Shaz and Kiks, well, Shaz and Kiku, I should say. And I wanted to have you on because you had sent me some of your hair care products that you carry in the line. And it's just so inspiring to me to see not only South Asian brands that are carried by Sephora now, but also the emphasis on hair care brands and solutions to hair growth issues that are being pushed by a lot of these retailers. So I'm so happy to have you on, Kiku. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really wonderful and I'm really excited to be here. And so thank you for inviting me, and I'm excited to share and chat with you.
Thank you so much. So I want to get into what kind of went into creating this brand. Like, what was your story? What was Shaw's story? How did you guys come up with this concept?
Yeah, so Shaz and I are actually sisters. So we're now business partners, but we've been sisters for, 35 plus years. I'm the younger sister. Shaz is the older one. We've always been incredibly close, and we've always really loved and been passionate about our Indian culture and heritage. We're Indian American. Our parents migrated over from India back in the 70s, but we lived there as little kids, and we spent all of our childhood summers visiting family. We're from the lush green foothills of the Himalayas in West Bengal. And we've been so, we feel like it's such an honor and such a privilege that we've had this experience where we're able to go back to our, kind of our motherland and our home country, and spend a good chunk of our childhood and as adults, where really kind of the origin and the impetus of Shaz Kiks really started. So we would, we spent a lot of time with our family, and a big part of South Asian and Indian culture is women collectively taking care of one another. And for many centuries, even until like now, kind of modern day consumer goods, very popular ritual and activity in many South Asian households are, the grandma or the aunties and, or your mom really kind of handcrafting and hand making a lot of natural, powerful, beautiful beauty products that use natural herbs and oils and flowers. And this is one of the experiences that we had when we would go back to India, to our ancestral home. Our grandmother was a big practitioner of using natural ingredients to nourish both your inside and outside of the body. And all these ingredients and like the basis of these formulas come from Ayurvedic science, the world's oldest healing system. One of the kind of the funny things about us, though, is that so I really loved this whole experience. My grandmother, we lived on this big estate that was really rich in different plants and herbs. Every single morning she would go out and, and pick different herbs that had a lot of proven benefits to take care of your skin, your scalp, your body, your hair. And we back then lived in a joint family, so there was like multiple people, multiple family members. And every single morning after she would make these beauty formulas, we would, all the women in the family and young, all the young kids and all of our cousins, we would get together on the veranda, and we would do these really wonderful, nutritious hair oil massages. They're called champi in Hindi and in Indian language. And we would oil our hair and our scalp. We would put different types of nutritious beneficial masks on our face and our bodies. And I really enjoyed this experience. I was definitely, like, I've always been like that beauty junkie in the family. I was fascinated by these ingredients and by the agricultural aspect of growing these plants. And so, I was like a huge, kind of beauty nerd when it came to all of this. But the opposite side was my sister, Shaz, who's actually the oldest out of all the kids in our family. And she actually really didn't like the experience. She loved the ritual. She loved the end benefits, but she's always been this, she really always wants this kind of full sensorial experience. She always really cares about how things are made and created with experiences. And she actually really she didn't like putting oil in her hair. She didn't really like a lot of these raw natural ingredients. And it was not that she didn't like them, but she just didn't like the experience about them. And, you know, so there was always this, like, these funny, whatever, arguments and like fun, you know, fun arguments and, like, you know, between her and my grandma growing up. And what's really wonderful is that all these really personal and like larger experiences that we had as children really went into creating Shaz Kiks. So, you know, obviously fast forward, you know, decades later, we're both out in like the corporate world. We've been, you know, we come from kind of strong business backgrounds. And around 2017, we both moved back to our home state in Texas. So I was out in New York for many years, and Shaz and our family were out in Dubai. And after over a decade, we were back on the same continent and like physically a lot closer to one another. And we really felt like we were, you know, at a point in our lives where we really wanted to create something, you know, completely from scratch, something that we built through our sisterly love. And we really had so much love for our culture and heritage. We really wanted to see how we can enhance it and we can make it more accessible and really kind of elevate the experience. And so we went back to those wonderful childhood experiences where we were like, you know, our hair was always the best. It felt the healthiest when we use these ingredients, when we use these formulas. And, you know, for decades in our more adult lives, you know, so much styling and heating and styling products that had gone in, it had really kind of like changed the integrity of our scalp, of our hair. And of course, different like lifestyle changes. Shaz had given birth to two beautiful girls who are my favorite people in the world, my nieces. And, you know, she experienced a lot of hormonal issues after giving birth that led to, you know, hair thinning and hair loss. So we literally were like, let's go back to our roots. These wonderful ingredients, there's so many of them. They really haven't, you know, there's been a couple that have traveled, you know, outside of our community, but most of these rituals and these ingredients have stayed within our communities. They've stayed within our households. They haven't really been packaged in an end way that is that's easy to share, you know, kind of you know, easy to share on the shelf. And so we really felt like there was a great opportunity to take these ancient practices, these wonderful nutrient-rich ingredients, but then take like that Shaz innovative lens. And so she is an engineer by trade. Her career has really, prior to Shaz Kiks, has been around innovation and product development. So, you know, she came in and was like, let's use these ingredients. Let's use like the foundation of the science behind these formulas and practices, but let's like create like really wonderful sensorial and formulas and delivery systems and really be innovative and unique about leveraging and sharing these ancient rituals and ingredients. So that was kind of all the little kind of pieces that went into Shaz Kiks. We also, you know, had seen for several years now a lot of Eastern wellness practices that had been that have, you know, kind of made its way over to the Western world. But we really felt like there was a lack of ownership. There was, you know, we felt like there was a lot of, you know, co-opting of these rituals and practices. And there's so much rich history and origin of all of these things that come from Ayurvedic science or, you know, traditional Chinese medicine. But a lot of those narratives have been stripped away. And so we really had kind of more of like a social, personal mission of making sure that we were sharing and creating consciously and with integrity and really kind of supporting a lot of the traditional communities that have grown these ingredients and sharing the history and the story of these ingredients and how they've been used for centuries within the South Asian region.
Well, I love that you're doing that because it really does. You're absolutely right. There are a lot of like little things that are being brought over to Western culture from Eastern culture. And I love that you're reinforcing the story to let people know that this is what it's based in and this is where we get all of our rituals and everything like that. And like you're starting to see hair oiling emerge over here, and it's crazy. It's nice to see. It's great to see. But yeah, it's really good that you guys are kind of bringing it back down to the basics and letting people know what the purpose behind it all is. So I really want to get into now like the hair growth products that you have in your line. If you could talk a little bit about that, maybe touch on ingredients, anything that people can know about the brand and what the benefits are of really using and getting into this practice.
Yeah, so our very first product that we launched with and is our, it's award winning and it's still our best seller to date is the scalp and hair pre-wash. And this is actually an innovative take on what you were just talking about of hair oiling. So kind of going back to like Shaz's experience of like not liking putting oil in her hair. She always felt like she has very fine, thin hair. She always felt like it weighed down. Like it was hard to put in, hard to wash out, but of course there's so much benefit of it. And then, when we did a lot of market research prior to, kind of creating the products and understanding both from South Asian women, but also non-South Asian women, what are kind of the things that they do to take care, the wellness of their scalp and their hair. And many women who are familiar with hair oiling said that that's something they might have grown up with, that they really enjoy the benefits, but they really didn't like the experience of it. So we took a lot of Shaz's personal experience and a lot of kind of data points from even a lot of our market research, and we took the concept of hair oiling but we really reinvented the formula and how it was created. So the pre-wash it's a creamy hair mask. There are over 20 Ayurvedic herbs, oils, and flowers in it, but the delivery is very different. So it's not an oil based, it's a cream based. It is in that kind of formulation. It is we're able to really like kind of supercharge the amount of ingredients that we're able to put in there and how they're stacked and formulated to really kind of symbiotically really help one another. We also created 2 different formulas. So there's one that's for fine, thin to medium hair, and that's definitely like a personal nod to Shaz. She's always like majority of kind of traditional hair oils in the Indian in the Indian rituals are just too heavy for her hair. So she's like, I want to create something that is it's a little bit more oil absorbing, that really helps kind of thicken and volumize my strands, and doesn't weigh the formula doesn't weigh down, kind of.
Please tell her thank you, because that is my hair. So thank you so much for doing that.
Yeah, so we want to make sure that we're really doing hair oiling, but like 2.0. And then our other formula is for thick, curly, or coily hair. And besides the fact that like both these formulas are for specific type of scalp and hair textures and types, we also wanted to make sure that like all hair type and texture find the right formula for them. And though we very much are rooted in a specific cultural origin, and we very much celebrate the South Asian experience and the stories, we want to invite everyone in. These ingredients are nutritious and beneficial universally for any type of person, any type of skin type and hair type. So we always kind of keep that in mind as we're formulating and creating new products. So to go back to the pre-wash, this is what we call your essential step 1. It is something that we recommend for you to massage into your scalp and through your strands at least once a week. And it is prior to starting your hair wash routine. So that's why we kind of call it the step 1. And think of it like taking it's the topical way of taking in your vitamins or your green juice or your serum. It has really high volume of active plant derived nutrients that are able to soak into your hair and scalp in its dry state. So it's very different from when you put products in the shower when your hair is wet, when you're putting a conditioner on, or when you're coming out and you're putting a scalp serum or a hair mask on. Putting in this kind of formula in your dry scalp and hair does a very different kind of thing. It's able to absorb a lot of those nutrients in a lot more of a deeper, more penetrable way. And there's, I kind of mentioned that there's like 20 different Ayurvedic ingredients in each of the formulas, and to highlight some of the specific things, some of our favorite key ingredients that exist in kind of both formulas. The first one is that we kind of talk about it being the essential step 1 to really nourish your entire hair ecosystem. So we look at 3 things when we talk about the hair ecosystem. It's your hair follicles, which is actually the only living part of your hair structure. That's where your hair grows out of, and that's one of the things that are the most one of the areas of your hair that's literally the most important when it comes to healthy hair growth, but is not something that in the Western world has really been products traditionally haven't been really created to take care of your hair follicles. So it deposits a super dose of nutrients directly into your hair follicles to help encourage hair growth. It also balances the scalp's oil production and pH, which are the two most important things for having a healthy scalp. And we know having a healthy scalp means healthy hair. And then there are different oil mixes for the two different formulas that are really right for those kind of like the density of your hair types for both those formulas that are some of them have penetrate into your strands and they help the structure from within. And then some lightweight oils are sealants. And so they kind of create this protective shield around your hair, which really helps it prevent everyday damage. So the minute you step into the shower, your water, your shampoo, those are all everyday activities that are part of damaging your hair. Your hair is porous. It can get waterlogged very easily, meaning it absorbs way too much water, and then it starts it's unlike your skin, it's not expandable, so there's only so much that it can kind of grow. So when it absorbs all that water, it starts expanding to the point where it starts breaking, which is why you always hear that wet hair is the weakest hair. So the pre-wash really helps make sure that the right amount of water gets in, but it doesn't get flooded by it. So all those things are wonderful, like the three areas of your hair ecosystem that you really want to make sure that you're focusing on that helps prevent everyday damage, protect your hair, and then also help encourage hair growth. And kind of going back to your original question about hair growth, there are three things that we really kind of focus on when you're thinking about your follicles in your scalp, which is like what you need to really think about and take care of when it comes to really helping encouraging healthy hair growth is and they're rooted in Ayurvedic science, and this is how we really formulate all of our products, especially the ones that are scalp specific, like the scalp and hair pre-wash. One is that it increases blood circulation. This is key in order for topically for your hair follicles to actually absorb the nutrients and oxygen, which is again key in hair hair growth. So you can increase your blood circulation. An easy way is just massaging it, which is why, that's the scalp massage, which has existed as like the number one activity to do for healthy hair in South Asian cultures for centuries, and now it's becoming more and more popular here. That's like the easiest thing. It's the freest thing. So to use your fingertips and your palms to really to give yourself a massage on your scalp, that really helps the follicles to absorb nutrient and oxygen. We also have certain ingredients in the formulas that are natural ingredients that are blood stimulants. So things like tulsi and wild mint are both ingredients that actually helps increase the blood flow and circulation. So that's one. The next two ingredients are shikakai and rita, and these are both great natural oil absorbance. So you want to make sure that you are getting rid of excess oil and helping it break down. So therefore your pores don't get clogged, and again, your follicles stay healthy. And Rita and Shikakai are again two Ayurvedic natural ingredients that help break down excess oil, dirt, and grime and kind of help remove it. They're also exactly formulated to be a pH balancer in whatever formula that you put in. So we always talk about the balancing the natural pH of your scalp and hair is really important, again, for hair growth. Your hair and your skin are naturally a little bit acidic. So each of our products, the way you use it in a routine, we work with a natural beauty chemist to make sure that we're very specific on the pH level of each product and where you would use it in your routine to make sure that it's like they're all working to one another to keep the natural pH of your scalp and hair in its balanced state, which is around like 4.5 in the pH scale. So that's, I feel like I just like shared a whole bunch of stuff, but our very first product, it took us 2 years to formulate. It is to date our number one seller and still one of our customers' most favorite products. And there's really nothing else like it. There is a lot of science that kind of Western science have gone into it, along with that foundational Ayurvedic ingredients that really are wonderful, natural, proven alternatives to a lot of kind of synthetic, chemically derived ingredients that you find in a lot of kind of traditional Western hair care products that have a lot of like bad side effects.
I love that. I love that you shared all of that. No, that's going to be really helpful, especially for the listeners that are looking for different lines to use and stuff. So I want to talk also about how you ended up in Sephora, because that to me is like one of the most exciting things. To see a South Asian brand in Sephora is amazing.
Yes, I know. We are, we've launched 3 months ago, so it's still very new to us. And it is something that, we really feel like, obviously we've put a lot of like, hard work as creators of this company and this brand, but it's really a testament to, we always view ourselves as like a vehicle of Ayurvedic science and Ayurvedic hair care. So I think it's amazing that like this has existed for thousands of years. It really has, again, stayed within certain communities that are, on the other side of the world. And for it to be now on one of like the world's it's one of the world's biggest beauty retailers that has such a wide variety of customer base, and to really see it being something that is popular and something that's getting adopted and people are interested in and really understanding its benefits. It really is something amazing to see that, and we really feel like we're like a vehicle for Ayurvedic science and this very kind of deep-rooted these deep-rooted cultural practices. The way we got into Sephora, honestly, it's like we always felt like, oh, this, like it was like as we were formulating and as we were creating our product and our brand, we did feel like our the ultimate destination, the dream destination would be Sephora. And we always felt like, oh, I don't know, in like 6, 7, 10 years, right? Like we don't come from the beauty world. We don't know anybody in the beauty manufacturing world or the retail world, as we were starting to work on this. And so it felt like something that would be like a dream, like several years down the road, if even. But I will say, we started working on this in 2018. We launched in 2020, and so much movement and change has happened societally. There has been a great interest in understanding other cultural practices, whether it be like food and wellness, or fitness and beauty, and not just an interest in it, but really, the consumer and the kind of like the American population. There's definitely been a lot of an increased respect and wanting to understand the origin of certain, again, food and beauty practices and things like that, and trying to honor them and respect them and give them space to really tell the full story, and for there to be a full narrative, and for them not to just like exist in a vacuum, like on a at the end of at a store on the shelf. So, I think that like there was multiple things that happened, and we just, things that you can't really control or really kind of plan towards, that I think helped us ultimately get to Sephora. So there definitely was that kind of cultural and societal shift that started happening around the pandemic and Black Lives Matter movement, which I think is a really important thing to bring up, where a lot of these shifts started happening. And so we just happened to, we happened to be, launch and kind of be out in the world during that time. And then I think it's just also a testament to, again, going back to these like wonderful ingredients and formulas that have become increasingly popular and well loved in the US and North America, which has led to Sephora now being like, wow, there's an appetite. There is like a want and need and interest in these kind of beauty products and beauty brands, which has let us, even get like the option to build a relationship with them, or even for them to consider us. So, technically it was, we applied to the Sephora Accelerate program, and the Accelerate program at Sephora has existed for several years, but in 2020 they actually really shifted it to really bringing in BIPOC owned beauty brands that were small, that had that were emerging brands, and that they felt that like really could work really wonderful within the Sephora family. And so you would go through that accelerator program. There's a lot of mentorship, both internally from the Sephora team, and then also externally from other beauty brands and founders and executive teams that are part of the Sephora family, that kind of come in and really help you share, they help you kind of build out your brand and tell you how great kind of useful tips and mentorship around being a Sephora beauty brand. And so we got accepted into that program, which in itself, there's hundreds of applicants. You need to really show that you've carving out a unique space for yourself and for the creating. So we got accepted in 2021, and then we were part of the 2022 cohort. It's a 6-month program, and then as you graduate, you part of the program is that they actually, they're selecting you and kind of grooming you and mentoring you to ultimately launch in their, at their stores and with as part of the Sephora portfolio. So that was kind of our entryway into being part of Sephora. So we were part of that program in 2022, and then we worked for about a year with them to work on launching. And so then in May of 23 is when we launched with them. So it's
pretty fresh.
it's pretty fresh. It's also a lot, it's like, it always feels like now that I'm on the other side of business and entrepreneurship, it's a lot of unsexy work. And a lot of, it always feels like, I know, and like in this day and age of social media and the internet, it always feels like, it's always
so
like
glamorous, yeah.
The glossy, the glossy magazine cover that you see out there, but it is a lot of patience, it's a lot of grit, it's a lot of unknownness, but all that, all those are pieces into building something that you really want to have longevity and that you really want to bring value to people, which is what ultimately we want to do. And we're really honored that Sephora believed in our mission and our story and ultimately our products, because that's the most important thing for them, and thought that they would be of value to like the larger Sephora family. So we're excited.
That is such an inspiring story to hear. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. So I would love to know now, like, what can we expect to see from Shaz and Kiks going forward in the next few years?
Yeah, I think we're, kind of just what I just said about the building a company that has longevity, that has that really carves out its space in this the global beauty world. And the way to do that is piece by piece, by brick, and we want to be this iconic, legendary beauty brand that is rooted in Ayurvedic science, and that is a global brand that brings accessibility to Ayurvedic ingredients and the origins of it. And the way to do that is honestly, we're a very product focused company. At the end of the day, there's definitely obviously a lot of work and energy put into storytelling and brand building, but it really, at the crux of it, is the product. And I feel like that's very much both me and Shaz's number one focus always, and then especially for the engineer of Shaz, everything is, she's very hands on the product development aspect of it. And we want to create consciously. We don't want to just create more beauty products. The world doesn't need more beauty products. There are already way too many. So we want to make sure what we're creating is something that is unique, that is valuable, that really creates some sort of impact for the end user, and gives them benefit. And we want every single one of our products to be a cult favorite, ones that the end consumer can't live without. And so I think that's always going to be our number one focus, and where we put all of our energy to is product development. And that's because we create completely from scratch. We source our ingredients primarily from Indian suppliers and farmers. We want to continue to build out that kind of sustainable supply chain. We want to make sure that we are working with the right type of sourcing partners. That's really, really important to us, that we're paying them fair wages. We're also really kind of, we do a lot of work in kind of agricultural practices and what kind of farmers and suppliers that we work with, making sure that we're not just using ingredients that are nutritious for your hair and for your scalp, but that are also gentle to grow and reliable plants and harvest for our farming communities back in India. And so there's multiple layers that go into selecting the ingredients even before we get to the formula. And we want to continue to really be hyper focused on that and do a lot more and more work around that. And then when we get those ingredients and how we formulate, we want to create full sensorial experiences for you. And it's almost like we kind of view every product that we create almost like, the way we view it, kind of almost like the way you explore a different cultural cuisine. When you walk into like a Chinese restaurant, a Vietnamese restaurant, you really are able to sit down and, the first dish comes to you. You are able to explore a culture through like the minute something is put down on you. And that's what we really want you to feel the minute you like get a Shaz Kiks product in your hand. We want you to be transported to another place. We want it to be voyeuristic, and so that takes a lot of attention to detail and time, and quality,
for sure,
and the source and the way we product develop it. So this is a very long-winded answer to saying that, like, first and foremost, and I don't think I hope that my answer never changes for as long as I'm working on this brand, that it will be to create the most kind of premium quality products that have a low footprint on our planet, that are reliable, and a good source of livelihood and income for the people that grow these ingredients. And then, of course, ultimately the end consumer, can't live without these products. So that's always going to be at the core of our business. And I think, with that comes all the other things. We want to be the number one hair care brand at Sephora. We want to continue to build that relationship, find new audiences and customer bases through them. We want to, and through that, reach different parts of the globe and bring our products to different people from all over. So I think for the next few years, it's really a focus on product development and our supply chain, and then really continuing to find different ways to reach new audiences and customers.
Love it. Well, that's such an incredibly inspiring story. That's so great to hear. And I love the fact that you're talking about really rooting everything into this culture, and so that people can really understand where everything is coming from and what all the ingredients are about and what all the products are about. So I'm excited to see what you guys come up with. And I just wanted to know from you and Shaz, like, what sort of really, like, what sort of hair like growth practices do you guys kind of do in your like beauty routines on a weekly basis or daily basis, especially when it comes to hair?
Yeah, for sure. So we, of course, no surprise here. We only when it comes to wellness products, we really only use Shaz Kiks products.
Of course, yeah.
And I will say that once I started working on this back in 2018, I also have like a bit of a personal hair journey. I used to have really curly, wavy hair when I was a little kid, and then you hit your teenage years and a whole bunch of like styling products and tools come in, and over the course of like many years of styling and really focusing more on like the way that my hair looked, I thought that my hair had just changed into being like kind of like straight and fine. And then around 2018, when I started working on this, I decided that I was going to stop all styling altogether. That I was going to drastically reduce a blow dryer and a sort of curling wand, and also not put styling products into my hair. And that was kind of a thing that I really wanted to really kind of try to get back like as much of like virgin hair as possible. As I was kind of starting to like test out different, formulas and work on the brand. And I will say that, like and today, like besides, whatever, I'm going to a wedding or I'm like have like a fun night out, I'll like style my hair. But through this experience now for almost 5 years of really using only these ingredients, in the beginning, they weren't Shaz Kiks products. There were a lot of just raw ingredients that I'm just, kind of mixing in my kitchen and testing out. My natural hair state has restored. Like its natural waves and loose curls have also come back. And it's like and the amount that it's like the thickness and the healthiness of it has just so drastically changed. This is something just like for me personally, and it's a little bit of a mental and like emotional journey as well, where I really felt like, like me having kind of like straight hair was like straight, smooth hair was like me looking my best. And through this journey of like creating my own, hair care brand, I've also been able to really like unlearn those traditional kind of beauty standards, and really embrace like, whatever is my like healthy natural state. And so for me, it is my like wavy curly hair, and every single day it kind of looks a little different. So these are things that used to frustrate me as a teenager or someone in my 20s, and now
you're
like
embracing it.
So much joy. Yeah,
it looks gorgeous. Like I know people might be listening to this podcast, but we're actually airing this on YouTube as well, so if you want to see how beautiful and thick and gorgeous her hair looks, like just watch the video because it looks amazing.
Thank you. And this is actually like, I washed my hair, what's today? It's Friday. I washed my hair on Monday. And so this is
wow.
This is my, yeah. And there's like,
wow.
I'm going to wash my hair tonight. But anyways, so sorry, I kind of like regressed a little bit from the original question, but practices that we both do, obviously I'll talk about some of like the Shaz Kiks products that are very specific to helping encourage healthy hair growth, and then I'll talk about also just other practices that we also incorporate on a regular basis to have our healthiest hair, and that is also growing at a healthy rate. So one thing is I regularly comb my hair every single morning and almost every single night. And I know that that's not possible for all hair types and textures. I want to give that as a caveat. But if you are able to comb your hair on some type of regular basis, it does several different amazing things. One is that it's just, again, that natural blood stimulating kind of activity where a comb really helps, again, get your like blood circulated. And it's one of the first things. I brush my teeth and then I comb my hair in the morning, and then kind of the same thing at night as well. It's great. Like I do that even more than like actually using my fingertips, because I just like combing my hair. It also makes sure that like any sort of like, it's the best way to get rid of any sort of like easy dry flakes and buildup. It's just like, it's like, think of like, you washing your face on like a regular basis with some sort of like physical exfoliant. That's kind of sloughs off dry skin and kind of dead cells. So the comb does that. It also helps you regularly do your healthy hair shedding. So we always talk about healthy hair shedding and then like unhealthy hair shedding / hair loss. You regularly making sure that your kind of like old dead hair is shedding at a healthy rate on a daily basis really helps encourage getting rid of that, because you don't want to hold on to like unhealthy weak hair. But so in order, so the combing helps kind of you get rid of that, and it makes room for healthy hair growth. And again, it stimulates your hair follicles, gets rid of like the kind of the weak, almost about to fall out hair anyways, and which will then help not speed up, but it helps again keep your hair cycle and like a healthy cadence and get that hair growth. The pre-wash, again, I feel like I don't need to talk more about the pre-wash. That's something I do every single week, once a week. Sometimes I do it twice a week. If I wash my hair usually twice a week, and so I usually do it every single time right before I wash my hair.
And you usually do it at night? You usually wash your hair at night?
So I actually, and this I feel like everyone's like kind of like schedule is a little bit different. So I usually wash my hair. I usually take a shower in like the evening. So what I do the days that I'm going to wash my hair is in the morning. I put in the pre-wash, I massage it in, and again, I'll comb my hair, I'll put it in, and then I use my fingertips to really, for like a good like minute to 2 minutes, give myself a good scalp massage. And then I tie it up. It gives like a really nice like holding. It has like a nice holding texture. So it's not formulated for a styling product, but more and more myself and our customers use it as a styling product.
You could use it. That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah, so it gives like some of like the best hold, more than even like gel. So I'll like put it up in like a sleek bun, or I'll do like a nice like braid, and it almost like looks like I've like styled my hair, but it's actually the pre-wash, and my hair looks snatched.
Love that.
So I do it in the morning, and then whether it be like whatever the weekend where I'm like out and about out and about, like enjoying my Saturday or Sunday. Or if it's a weekday, I literally just work in it. So I leave it in for like the entire day, and then I take a shower in the evening. So that's usually like my cadence. But you can actually sleep in it. You can just keep it in for at least even like just 15-20 minutes is like the minimum that we recommend that you keep it in. But you can leave it as long as you like. A lot of people sleep in it because like they like to wake up and they take a shower then. If you're going to take a shower, if you're an evening hair washer, then put it in earlier in that day and go about your day. And that's the nice thing about the way the texture and the formula is that it doesn't look oily. It just looks like you've actually like put in some like sleep gel in your hair.
What's the minimum amount of time you recommend people leave it in?
15 minutes.
15 minutes. Okay.
You know, again, like if you can schedule it, or you know, if it fits into your schedule for longer, that's great. And if not, that's also totally great. It's 15 minutes, you know, say you're about to go wash your hair, put it in, go, you know, whatever, go do whatever you need to do for 15 minutes and then jump in the shower and
start. So 15 minutes, you'll still get the benefits, but if you want to leave it in longer, you'll get even more benefits.
You'll even get more.
Great.
And I will say, I feel like, you know, we're always in contact and in communication and understanding how our customers use it. And I feel like once you get in the pattern of it, most people put it in like longer, right? Like they'll like put it in the morning again, and they'll like jump on calls or whatever, go work out, or they'll sleep in it. So like I feel like once you get a little bit like, you get like the right rhythm, most of our customers do tend to like keep it in during a longer period of time. So the pre-wash for sure. And of course, there is you know, our clay cleanser is another obviously great scalp product. And so when you talk about hair, hair growth, I'm talking about it's really scalp products that really is what affects your hair growth.
Right.
So, the clay cleanser that we have, which is made out of Multani Mitti, which is Indian Fuller's Earth clay, is really great again to keep your scalp at its healthiest state. So it really breaks down oil, dirt, and grime. Those are things that can really clog up your follicles. Again, detriment to hair loss and excessive hair shedding. It also what was it? Sorry. It also, the clay minerals also have calcium, iron, and magnesium, which are all like minerals that help like strengthen your roots. So when you use the clay cleanser, which is our shampoo, you'll see a lot less like, you know, that scary ball of hair on your drain, bottom of your drain in your shower drain. You see a lot less of that because it's also it like really kind of strengthens the root of it. And so you naturally just see a lot less hair shedding in the shower, which is like a very popular place to see excessive hair shedding. So besides that, I'll also make sure that you also, you know, equally important of what you topically put on your scalp and within your hair strands is also like nutrition. So one of the things that I drink every single morning, and both Shaz and I do this, is that we soak fenugreek or methi, soak it in hot water, and then we will drink that as one of our first drinks in the morning. And fenugreek is really rich in nutrients that all really help with hair growth. And again, it's something that is easy in the sense of like, it's, you know, it's not a very expensive spice to buy, and something that you can really incorporate that is really, really internally beneficial for hair growth and a bunch of other things as well. So that's one of the kind of regular daily intakes that are rooted in Ayurvedic science, and, you know, an easy thing that I've just incorporated into like my daily activity that is very specific for healthy hair growth.
And so like, how much of what are you putting in, and how long are you leaving it in the water for?
Yeah, so I'll boil some water. I take about a teaspoon of methi, you know, put it in my glass. I'll pour the hot water over it, and I'll go and I'll like do some other things, and I let it soak in for about like 10 minutes, and then I'll drink it. And again, you can sip on it. I'm like a fast drinker, so I kind of like drink it fast. Someone like Shaz kind of sips on it for like a course of 30 minutes. It doesn't matter, however you want to ingest it. That's it. It's just like a teaspoon of methi or fenugreek, and let it soak in hot water for about 10 minutes, and then drink it out.
I love that. I'm going to try
Yeah.
that. That's a great, yeah, that's not something that I've heard anybody share before. So I love that you just shared that with us.
Yeah, and another, I do a lot of, and these are again all rooted in Ayurvedic science. Like so many of these like spices and herbs are, again, some of them are like in our actual formulas that you're putting topically on yourself, and they're just as nutritious to also ingest. And so, one of the other key things overall for your overall health, and again, especially since we're talking about healthy hair growth, is digestion, right? We know that like
Absolutely.
so many of your physical manifestation is a reflection of your digestion. Again, so core to Ayurvedic science. So I do a couple of, so like in the morning, I'll first have just some warm water without anything. So that's my first intake. Then I'll do the methi water, and then whatever, a little bit later in the afternoon, I soak ajwan, which is really, again, a great, it's a seed. I think the English is caraway seeds.
I was just going to ask you, I was like, what is the English word for it?
I think I want to say it's caraway seeds.
I think so. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, but I could be wrong. But I think it's caraway seeds. A lot of these, a lot of like, especially food, like I just know what like my mom or my grandmother says, like in our like native language. So a lot of times I'm like, I don't know what the English of it is. So yeah, so again, a teaspoon of ajwan or caraway seeds, soak it again the same way with methi, and I'll sip on that kind of like through like the afternoon. That's after I've had, let's say, my lunch, and it just helps with digestion. And again, those are all, I do that just as overall for general health and wellness, always kind of focusing on practices and ingredients that help with digestion, and that for sure is a big component in your overall wellness, including healthy hair growth.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. That is definitely going to be super beneficial for listeners.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to say thank you again so much for taking the time to be on this podcast. You have left us with a lot of great tidbits of wisdom that we can put towards our hair growth routines. And yeah, and I'm super excited to see what happens with Shaz and Kiks and how far you guys take it. Very exciting. So if you guys want to check out the brand, I'm going to have all of the links and everything in the description for the video, as well as the show notes for this episode. And go ahead and please share what your Instagram handle is and where they can find your website.
For sure. Our handle is Shaz and Kiks. So that's SHAZANDKIKS. And that's also our website. It's shazandkiks.com. So check us out.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.